Hello and welcome to Observing the Sabbath, or rather, Streaming the Sabbath. This is our first live stream here on the channel. I have done live streaming before in the past. Oh, I'm Nathaniel Molnar, by the way. Hi, how's everyone doing? I've done live streaming before in the past on other channels, but this is my first time doing it here on this channel, so please, as I go forward, just let me know, making sure that everything sounds good, that everything looks good. Let me know if there are things I can change to make things go better. And I'm just going to check on the stream to make sure that things are going okay. Looks like, yeah, we have a great connection going on, so things are going pretty good. How is everybody doing on this Saturday here amidst this lockdown? I know that for me, one thing that has really helped get me through all this has been the music of Black Sabbath and how these streams are going to work. How streaming the Sabbath is going to work. This is something that I would like to do on a regular basis. Should everybody like it, should people watch it and get interested in it and actually like what I'm doing here, I kind of want to leave this up to you guys as to what we really do here. On the channel, we have our sort of regular content that we do. We're going through the original 8 studio albums by Black Sabbath. We're looking at all the albums that are done by Ozzy, by Tony, by Geezer, by Bill. We're looking in depth at those first studio albums. I'm just going to adjust my mic. We're looking in depth at those first original 8 studio albums, and we've been doing reaction commentary videos for each of those songs that are on all those albums. We've done all the way through Black Sabbath, and we're halfway through Paranoid right now. I believe the last one we did for Paranoid was Iron Man, and the next one, Electric Funeral, goes up on Monday, so you'll want to keep your eyes open for that. But we're halfway through the second album, and we kind of have like a set formula. We have a set thing that we're doing for those installments, for those videos. It has its set structure. But what I wanted to do with this channel was do something that had a little less structure. It didn't have something we necessarily needed to adhere to. It was a little bit more long form, open-ended, and I really wanted to capitalize on being able to interact and talk with you guys, because one of the things really that kept Observing the Sabbath from being maybe just like a one-off thing was the reception that it got, and was all the comments that I got on each of the videos from you guys talking about how much you loved the songs and how much you actually appreciated the time and the energy and the work that was going into those videos. So first of all, I want to say personally thank you for those of you who have kept up with the channel, who've been watching these videos, who've been actively commenting, because it's because of you that I've actually said to myself, I really need to spend more time doing this. Observing the Sabbath, I don't know how much time I would have been able to actually give this channel had we not been in the midst of this lockdown. I think I put out the first video before the lockdown happened, but it wasn't until we were in the midst of this lockdown that I was able to actually go full in on the original album, and I've been doing all the other ones for Paranoid. It's really been this period of downtime that I've been able to really focus on it. But I have a lot of other things that I'm kind of working on simultaneously. But what has really kept me coming back to Observing the Sabbath, trying to build this brand, trying to enhance my set, trying to, keep things going and trying to do new things, what has really kept me doing this has been this interaction, this support. And so I thank you guys who have kept up with this channel, who have kept up with these videos. And with these live streams, I really want to make that, the interaction, the biggest part of these live streams. I want to be able to talk with you guys and have a dialogue, because, there's only so much dialogue that can actually happen when it's a pre-recorded video that I film, edit, and then post on YouTube and then comments. There's this sort of limited structure, but live streams, we can have this dialogue. And so that is something that I really wanted to do with this channel. Hackosaurus Rex in the chat says sound quality is good. Thank you, Hackosaurus Rex. Thanks for checking in on that. That is good to hear. Like I said, I have done streaming in the past, but I have not done it exactly this way for this channel, so there's always little discrepancies. So thank you for keeping up on that. So really, while there is no set structure, there's a couple of things I want to do with these streaming the Sabbaths. I want to be able to do some listen to some records, because I have all of Black Sabbath's records, the original run of Black Sabbath. I want to be able to listen to some records. I want to have some good discussions about Black Sabbath. I also, because you guys have mentioned this and suggested this so much that this is something you want to see me do, I want to do some live concert footage reaction videos. You know, it was something that I didn't really intend on doing. It wasn't even something I'd thought about. But then you guys in the comments were saying, giving me links for all these different videos that you wanted me to do reactions to. And I thought that was a really great idea. And especially with the length of some of these things, where they're like over an hour long, some of them, I thought that live streaming would be the best way to kind of handle this. So with Streaming the Sabbath, we can do some live concert footage reactions. We can watch some of those and just kind of discuss and talk about them. We can listen to some records. We can just talk about Black Sabbath. Or even though, yes, this is Streaming the Sabbath, this is Observing the Sabbath, we don't have to limit it to just Black Sabbath. I mean, if we're going to just be kind of, shooting the shit, just kind of talking right now, we could talk about some other things. If you guys want to talk about current events or movies or anything like that, I'm up for that. Or we can just talk about Black Sabbath. Either way works really well for me. So you will see on my... Oh, I got to point the other way. On my left, I have a couple of links there. First of all is our Twitter and Instagram page. So do check those out. Do like those pages. There you'll find out extra information. I post whenever videos go up, so you can follow those for more additional information, as well as you'll see a Streamlabs link. So Streamlabs is, for those of you who may not know, because I didn't know about Streamlabs until fairly recently, Streamlabs is a way for people to donate money to a person or individual while also leaving a question. I know a lot of YouTubers who utilize this. I have never used Streamlabs before. I set it up just to have it. I don't really expect anyone to actually use it, at this point at least. You know, this is a very small channel, very small following. I don't really expect that people are going to use it, but I figured, why not have it there just to have it. I will say a couple of things about it, and then I won't mention it again. I am able to spend the time that I do spend on this channel right now because I am currently unemployed with this whole lockdown thing. I was working in a restaurant, and then the restaurant got shut down, and so I'm currently out of work, and so I have more free time than I am spending. But once we're out of this lockdown, I will have other priorities. I will be back at work. I will actually be doing an internship to finish my college, doing my final internship for that. And it'll become harder and harder for me to spend full amounts of time on observing this. I'll still do it. I will still do the channel, absolutely. But if we're able to grow the channel to a point where there are people who are donating money, that gives me a little bit more reason to be able to make it more of a priority. Because if I have to make my priority the places where either is my college requirement so I can graduate, or my actual job where I am making money, those have to be my priority. But if we are able to, in this period of time where we are locked down, grow the channel to a point where we have a larger audience and we actually have a little bit of money coming into the channel, that I am allowed then for myself to be able to make this channel a bit more of a priority, and then I can put out more content. So I'll just say that. And like I said, at this point, I have we have like 22 subscribers, and we have a lot of great dialogue in the comments section, and I love that and I appreciate that. But at this point, we're small enough. I'm not really expecting anybody to donate, but it's there if you are interested. And I will say, if you do, if someone watching at any point does decide to donate a couple of bucks and leaves a question, I will make sure that that question is read and discussed in depth, and really given its time and its due, because you are choosing to do that, and I am incredibly appreciative of that if anyone does decide to do that. But like I said, I'm not really expecting anyone to do that at this point. We are that small. So last time I'm going to mention the Streamlabs. All right, so I'm going to throw it over. Let's see who's in the comments. Hackosaurus Rex writes, I'm looking forward to these streams. I think it'd be awesome to listen to live performances, maybe check out some covers, and check out songs from before they were Sabbath. That's a great point. Like I said, we're going to do the live performances, the covers, and the songs before they were Sabbath. That is something I had not thought about. Those are really good ideas, and that's exactly the kind of thing that I want to do with this live stream. These live streams going forward, I think that is an excellent use of it, and this is exactly the place to do it. So yeah, so how about this? Hackosaurus Rex, you're currently with us. I'm going to leave it up to you. Would you like to start out with watching a live performance, or would you rather we listen to a record and just kind of talk about Sabbath while the record is playing? If you're still with us, and anyone else who's watching, I see there's a couple of viewers. Jump into the live chat right now and let me know, should we watch a live performance first, or should we listen to a record first and just discuss Sabbath? I will keep my eye on the chat for that. I gotta say, this is already, I'm having fun with this, and I'm glad that Hackosaurus Rex is looking forward to these streams, because I am too. And this really only works if there are people watching and participating. Like I said before, I've done live streams before. I've done other YouTube channels before. I come more from a background of movies and film. I studied film at Fitchburg State University, and I'm almost graduated. I have an internship, and that I'm going to be completing this summer. So I've done movie stuff on YouTube before. This is my first like Sabbath thing or music related thing, and I've just really loved the interaction I've had with people. Hackosaurus Rex writes, did you have a live performance in mind? Well, I have a couple that we could do. Let me bring up my folder. I downloaded some videos. Let me do... best ones to do. So I'll check the chat. Oh, it cut out. Thank you for letting me know. Hold on one second. And voice meter. Okay. Let me know when I do this. Or is my audio still there? It should be, because I just added the audio in there. All right. Yes. Thank you. Hackasaurus says that I switched. Audio's back. Perfect. Excellent. Sorry, I forgot to, let me bring this back. I forgot to add the audio in, for when I do the display capture. So let's try that again. All right. So, assuming you can hear me, we have these to choose from. I would say that, this one, that one, and that one, those are all over an hour long. So I prefer not to do those. So I'd say Wicked World is 18 minutes long, and it is not a video, but it is just audio. And then the Cal Jam video, that is about 22 minutes long, and that is like a full set. So I'd say, for those in the chat, I will leave it up to you. Which one are we going to do? Yes, it's still there. I'm assuming you mean the audio, which is great. All right, so yes, so our thing comes down to either the Wicked World audio or the Cal Jam video, either of which we will do I'll react to it and we can discuss it, and those are our options. Both of which I think are really good. I've seen the Cal Jam one before. I have not listened to the Wicked World one before. One of our viewers on one of our videos recommended that one. And I have not listened to it yet, but at some point I will. So. Alright, so then let us do... You know what? We will do the Cal Jam. How's about that? We'll do the Cal Jam. All right. So, just give me 1 second to add it in. And this will just take 1 second. Cal Jam. And then I just have to put let me do this quick test here.
That's right. It's very simple to do. Nobody likes to be squashed anyway.
Let me move it up.
That's right. It's very simple to do. Nobody likes to be squashed anyway.
All right. There seems to be a technical issue, that I am, oh, I think I know what it is.
That's right. It's very simple to do. Nobody likes to be squashed anyway.
All this behind you.
Sabbath is coming on. Let's go. Just
you know what?
get back.
I don't really know what the issue is, so we're gonna do a record instead. How about that? And I will make sure for next time that we can do a live performance. So here's what we're gonna do. I have with me. Sorry about that. I have with me my big box of treasures. Is that not beautiful? That is just gorgeous. So I have with me, we can do, I have the original 8 studio albums. I have Black Sabbath, I have Paranoid, I have Master of Reality, I have Volume 4, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Sabotage, Technical Ecstasy, and Never Say Die. I also have 13. I have 13 as well. So we can even do it we can do it like this even. We can listen to the A side of one record, and we can listen to B side of another one, 2 A sides, 2 B sides, however we want to do it. So let's put on something, whatever we want to do. And Hackasaurus says no problem in terms of the in terms of the technical issues. When I tested it out before, it worked fine, and then I'm doing it live, and it doesn't work. Just the joys of live streaming. But I will test it out, figure it out anyways. And to be completely honest, I was I was trying to fix a little bit of the design of how the live performance thing would look. I was playing around with it in Photoshop right up until we went live. And so it actually works out that I can actually really make sure it looks and works exactly the way that I want it to. So, I'm gonna give, once again, for a record, we can do Black Sabbath, Paranoid, Master of Reality, Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Sabotage, Technical Ecstasy, Never Say Die, or 13. We can do the A side of one, we can do the B side of another, A and A, B and B, however we want to do it. And then we'll just kind of listen, and then we'll just kind of discuss Sabbath. Just kind of talk about whatever we want to talk about. I wish I could move my camera so you guys could see the setup I've got going on here. It's pretty. I've got like my speakers right up here. It's really nice. So here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to pick one. Hackasaur says Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, or Sabotage. Let's do... How about we do... I'm thinking... let's do Sabotage. We're gonna do Sabotage, folks. We're gonna do the A side of Sabotage, and then we might move on and do the B side of another one. We'll see what's happening. So this is Sabotage. Look at that. Beautiful, right? You could see your reflection almost. Alright. So this is what we got. We got Hole in the Sky, Don't Start Too Late, Symptom of the Universe, Megalomania. Alright, and I'm going to have to fidget a little bit with the volume just to make sure that it's not too loud. Like I said, I got my speakers right up there. I love Hole in the Sky. Alright, just let me know if the record needs to be turned down at all to make sure you can hear me a little bit better. Hackasaurus Rex is saying yes, the A side of Sabotage is superior to the B side. I would agree with that. Let's take a look. So, we've got for the, it's a little quiet. How's that? So for the B side, we have, the A side has Hole in the Sky, Don't Start Too Late, which is an instrumental. Then it has Symptom of the Universe, which is one of my all-time favorite Sabbath songs. And then Megalomania, which is really good. And then for the B side, we have Thrill of It All, Super Czar, Am I Going Insane, and The Writ. Now, I will say, Thrill of It All and The Writ are in my top 5 favorite Black Sabbath songs, as is Symptom of the Universe. Super Czar is good. Is this volume okay now for the record? Just want to make sure that people can actually hear me. But, Super Czar is interesting. I like it, but it's a little repetitive. It's redundant, I would say. The thing with Super Czar, it goes on a little bit too long. it could be a lot shorter than it is. And I've always kind of thought that maybe Superstar should be like at least half its length, and it would be a really interesting opening to Am I Going Insane, as opposed to its own instrumental. Which, Am I Going Insane, I think is, volume is decent. Thank you, Hackosaurus. So, Am I Going Insane? Let's talk about that song for a minute. That's an interesting one, because, it's, so it says in the title, radio, even though it wasn't like it was a made-for-radio song. There's a more specific reason of why it says that. I just don't know off the top of my head. Am I Going Insane does not sound like a Black Sabbath song. But, I mean, at the same time, neither does Solitude, and neither does, what's the other one? Planet Caravan. Neither does any of those. And I said in my videos, talking about Paranoid and talking about the other ones, that one of the great things about Black Sabbath is that they try to do new things. It doesn't always work, like we see with Technical Ecstasy, but they're always trying to do something different and try to do something new. And maybe move. So Hackosaurus is saying, move your mic towards the speakers slightly instead of having to turn up the volume. I can try to do. Maybe that will work. Now it's a quieter song, so I'm not sure how much how much we'll be able to tell at this point. But I will say, Hackosaur says, I can't remember what radio means either, but some kind of old British joke, radio rental or radio mental, something like that. Yeah, it was something along those lines, definitely. But it's one of those interesting songs, you know. It's one of those, I can't tell if I like it or if I don't like it. You know, and maybe that's part of the charm of the song. I can't tell if I like it, and I can't tell if I hate it. Oh, hate's a strong word. I can't tell if I like it or if I dislike it. Here we go, Symptom of the Universe. This is my number 2 favorite Black Sabbath song. I can't wait when we go into Sabotage. So I use Symptom of the Universe as my closing song for all of my videos, with Supernaut as the opening. God, I love this song so much. Such a good song. So, the thing about Symptom of the Universe, it has one of these things that you see with a lot of Sabbath songs, where it has one half where it's like one way, and it has a very distinct, it flips it on its head and does something completely different. Megalomania does that, The Writ does that, Symptom of the Universe does that. And that's one of the really interesting things about Sabotage, is that sort of philosophy that they have with that, the approach to that album is just constantly, let's just completely flip the script. Let's just do something completely new and completely different. It's that growth, it's that evolution that I keep talking about with Sabbath. Hackosaurus Rex writes, Symptom is a great song. Can't imagine hearing this when it first came out in 75. I completely agree. I can't imagine hearing this any of these songs for the first time. You know, I had on one of the videos someone commented and said that the album came out, I think when they were 12 or 13 or something like that. The first Black Sabbath album from 1970 came out then. And I just had to ask, you know, just out of like pure curiosity, I had to ask, what was that like? You know, what was that like to have these songs come out for the first time? Something just virtually unlike anything anyone had ever heard before. So completely different. Completely just like it. Experiencing history in the making, the creation of an entire genre of music. You know, I got movies on the mind, guys. But yeah, I mean, to be able to witness the creation of an entire genre of music like that is just incredible. And then to see the growth and change, and yeah, hearing this when it comes out in 75, and I gotta say, I love Symphony of the Universe. Thrill of It All, I think, is like a song that not many people talk about, but I think it's just one of their top tier. I mentioned it is in my top 5 favorite Sabbath albums, songs of all time. Eventually on the channel, I will do like a definitive ranking or something. So you got like the really heavy intro, and then you have this part, which is like a really nice bridge into the much more like melodic part of the latter half of the song. Tony's solo is just awesome. To me, this is like, this and Killing Yourself to Live. Killing Yourself to Live is my definitive favorite Black Sabbath song. I keep saying album. Definitive favorite song. But that and Symptom of the Universe are like my two definitive like songs. That is Black Sabbath to me. This is just beautiful. Come and step inside my dreams. Oh god, this is just like pure emotion. It's just beautiful. The high notes that Ozzy hits. I mean, Ozzy hits high notes in Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, but the high notes that he hits in this part of this song is just beautiful. I talk a lot about them evoking strong imagery. Hackosaurus writes, first half of Thrill of It All is amazing, second half is kinda meh. Kinda meh for me, except for Tony's solo at the end. I can see, because it is one of those, very similar to, as I was just saying, they really had a consistent theme going for this whole album, where they are constantly flipping the script, they're constantly reinventing, and like halfway through a song, they just completely shape things up. Symptom of the Universe, Megalomania, The Writ, they just keep doing it, and Thrill of It All exactly does that too. And I would say I love those, because I love the opening, I love the first half, but I also love that part where it kind of changes key and it goes up, and I personally really like that part. But I can see, because anytime you're changing things drastically, anytime that happens, you know, it might work for some people, it might not work for others, but I love all Thrill of It All, and Tony's solo at the end is excellent. I do agree with that. And then Hackosaurus Rex also writes, yes, Killing Yourself to Live is my favorite song of all time. Me too. Snowblind comes in a close second. Hey, Snowblind is awesome. That's a fantastic song. For a very long time, I held Snowblind to be my favorite song off of Volume 4. After a while, Supernaut kind of overtook it. But Snowblind is it's just a brilliant song. It's sort of like they took, so it's kind of like a little bit more mature version of Sweet Leaf. You know, but Killing Yourself to Live, not enough people talk about Killing Yourself to Live. My God, it is my favorite Sabbath song, and I'd agree, if Sabbath is my favorite band, and it's my favorite Sabbath song, I think then by logic dictates, Killing Yourself to Live has to be my favorite song of all time. And the riff, it might be my favorite Sabbath riff. Maybe. I have to do a lot more thinking about it. But that riff near the end of Killing Yourself to Live, when it goes to the do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, that part, God, every time that riff gets me. I just love that riff so much. So Hackosaurus Rex, I'm so glad you think that too about Killing Yourself to Live, because it is just brilliant. Let's talk about Megalomania. Hackosaurus Rex, before we go to Megalomania, Hackosaurus Rex writes, also going back to Hole in the Sky, great song. That used to be my favorite for a while, but after hearing it so many times, I kind of got tired of the chorus. Feels forced to me. I could see that. I can definitely see that. I'd agree. I always kind of thought, I like Hole in the Sky because it's a shorter song. It has a lot of power. It's a great opener. They really know how to open their albums and how to close them. Hole in the Sky is just like a great kick. But for me, if I'm looking at Sabotage, Symptom of the Universe kind of overshadows Hole in the Sky. But Hole in the Sky is great. I always kind of, the song Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum, I believe is the person who does that. I always kind of thought of Hole in the Sky as like the metal version of that song. I don't know why. That's just kind of like how I kind of thought about it. Hackosaurus says, wish they just let Tony have a little instrumental interlude. Yeah, I could see that. At the same time, though, we get so many of those in the whole album that I can understand they just kind of want a forceful, strong, kick-ass opening to the album. It's like, ready, and go! And then it do-do-do-do-do, and they just go, and then they kind of move on from it. So, yes. I mean, it would have been great to have that from Tony, but I would say that a lot of the album does have that in other parts, and so I'm okay with the fact that that song in particular doesn't have it, because that wasn't really the theme of what they were going for. In the same way that a lot of their songs on that album flips the script, changes midway, Hole in the Sky is consistent. It doesn't do that. And so I kind of like that diversity. I sold my soul to be the human obscene. Best line in the song for me. Regarding Megalomania, I completely agree. I really like this song. I really like, for Megalomania, I love the slower opening. I've heard some people criticize the cowbell. I like the cowbell in this song. I gotta say, it fits. I love, this song just like feels so grandiose, It has like, it just feels larger than life. And, the song is really talking about this sort of like existential war, like heaven and hell and going through all these different realms, and you want this song to have that sort of existential power and to it. Hackosaurus writes, don't get me wrong, Hole in the Sky is still awesome. The chorus just isn't for me, which is why I love Sabbath. Most songs don't have a chorus. You're right about that. Not a lot of Sabbath songs have a chorus. I'm going to have to look at that and keep that in mind more as we go through. Which ones have a chorus and which ones don't. That's a very good observation, Hackosaurus Rex. I had not really thought about it, but you're right. Not a lot of Sabbath songs do have that. Now I'm just getting swept up in Megalomania. But yeah, I mean, and I think some of their songs that do have choruses, it kind of gets bogged down a little bit when they constantly go back to the chorus. I just feel that about choruses in general. I'm not a huge fan of constant repetition in songs where, they have, just one part that they keep going back to over and over and over again, especially vocal parts. I mean, riffs are different. Riffs are riffs, but repeating choruses, repeating verses over and over and over again in songs, unless if it's used in a very deliberate and strategic way, it can get a little tiring for me. Hackosaurus says, I like the cowbell too. Whenever Tony comes in right after the cowbell, I envision a biker gang in their leather gear riding through the desert. Such a nasty riff. Yeah, I can see that. I like that. I don't know, and the cowbell is a little unexpected, you know? Because you just kind of have, like, it's more of like a haunting opening. And then you just hear the cowbell. It's like, do, 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 and a do, 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 do. Like, it just completely changes form, and it's like, it's a great kind of lead-in. Where Something in the Universe has that strong transitioner between the heavier beginning and then the more melodic ending, where it's kind of like ramping up. It's like, it's like scaling almost, going up, and then that kind of for Megalomania, the signifier that we're having this change is the cowbell. So I gotta say, I like it. You know, I don't want every single one of their songs to have cowbell, but I really like it for this song. What for going for? I agree. It's a nasty riff. And I mean, your comparison with the biker gang, I think, is very interesting. I'd say, I just think in general, it kind of feels like you have all this build up, and then suddenly it's like, rev your engines, let's go. This is a really good song. Not enough people talk about Megalomania. Not enough people in general talk about Sabotage. I feel like when I talk to, like, true Sabbath people... Well, no, let me rephrase that. When I talk to people who really know a lot about Sabbath, I find a lot of people really do appreciate Sabotage. But I feel like in the general conversation, not enough people talk about Sabotage. I mean, a lot of people go for Volume 4, which Volume 4 might be my second favorite. I mean, Volume 4 is just awesome. Or Master of Reality, which I think is a really good album, or Paranoid. Not enough people talk about Sabotage. Hackosaurus says, yes, it's awesome when the cowbell comes in. Like on The Wizard, the random cowbell gets me every time. Yeah, I agree. The Wizard, and the Wizard has the harmonica, which kind of changes things up. I like when they are introducing new instruments, and I love this part. You have to do, do, do. Hackosaurus says, I could talk about Megalomania for an hour, but I can't type much in the chat. There's a character limit for each post. Yeah, I know, there's only 200 words. Yeah, it's unfortunate the way that that's set up. But I guess it kind of makes sense. Man, all right. So that's the end of Sabotage. You know what I'm gonna do for you, Hackosaurus? The B-side. We're gonna do the B-side of Volume 4. And you know the first song that's on the B-side of Volume 4? Snowblind, my friend. That is right, we're gonna do Snowblind. I gotta say, I got my record player fairly recently, within the last few months. Ever since I got this Sabbath collection, I've been using the hell out of this thing. I mean, like, anytime I want to listen to music, but every time I want to listen to music, I just pop this thing on, and I'm there. I don't know what it is for me, in terms of, I like, you know, I'm a physical media person. You know, with movies, I like to have my Blu-rays. I like having something physical. And so I just really like being able to listen to an album like this. I mean, I also listen on Spotify, like I just have it on my phone and everything. But I really like having the vinyl. Hackosaurus says, it's okay, though I'll have a very long-winded comment and then Megalomania video gets put up. Oh, when the Megalomania video gets put up. Absolutely. Hackosaurus says, wish I had a record player and speakers, man. I only have my phone and headphones for now. I was exactly with you up until like a couple of months ago, and then I got my record player, I got the vinyl collection, I got my speakers, and it turned out it worked for me. Snowblind is so good. You know, they were originally going to call Volume 4 Snowblind. That was going to be the name of the album, and then the studio said, yeah, no, you can't name the album something that's so clearly code for cocaine. And so they're like, alright, well, you know, we're not going to call it anything else, so Volume 4. Sumo spread. Makes me happy, makes me cold. Yeah, I'll say this is the more mature Sweet Leaf. Yeah, I love this song. And Tony's riff for it is just great. I do think, though, that Supernaut is my favorite on the album. Although we will be getting to in a little bit, we'll be getting to Under the Sun, which is also just one of my absolute favorite. Hackosaurus says, if I was a movie maker, I would use this song during any drug scene. The song is so good. Yeah, this is the song, this is the song for when the people in the movie do the drugs and they're just kind of like sprawled out on the floor and they're just like staring up into space and entering into their mind. For a long time I thought it was I feel the snowflakes christen me, but it's actually freezing me. Part of me almost wishes it was christen me, but freezing is good too, because it keeps that cold motif in with the song. See, what I love about Black Sabbath, and you hear this with Tony's riffs in this, Black Sabbath, they're heavy, but they don't feel the need to be fast. You know what I mean? Like, it's thick, it's heavy, it has strength and power, but it's not like a rushed, you know, there's a lot of heavy metal bands that I hear, and it's just like, it's like as fast as you can possibly make it, which I guess has its fans and it's for people, but for me, what I love about Black Sabbath is while it's heavy and it's thick and it has that strength, it doesn't feel the need to be super fast. You know, it takes its time, it's meandering, it's more meticulous. So I really appreciate that about their music. And then when you get the riff that changes it, I love this line that comes up. Don't you think I know what I'm doing? Hackosaurus Rex writes, Under the Sun is the best album ender ever. The way they slow down the tempo at the end works so well. The only contender for me might be Spiral Architect with the crowd clapping. I completely agree with about Under the Sun. I like Spiral Architect, but I'm not as huge. I would say Into the Void, I think, is a very strong album ender, too. But Under the Sun, yeah, the way that they kind of, like, slow down, with Under the Sun, I just love that. Hackosaurus says, I agree, the speed gets to be too much with a lot of bands. Sabbath is the perfect speed for me, in my opinion. Fast does not always equal good. And you are exactly right there, Hackosaurus. Fast does not always equal good. You know, and fast does not always equal heavy, I think is another thing. Or that heavy doesn't always need to be fast. Part of it is just how thought out everything is and just how well everything blends together. I think part of it just feels like that this is just a band that, you know, part of the allure of Black Sabbath is if you had told me that some of these songs, they just were jamming, like they didn't plan it out beforehand. Tony just was going for it. Bill was just going for it. Geezer was just going for it. Ozzy was just making shit up on the spot to go over this. If you told me that they were all just kind of free balling it the whole time, I would believe you. I would believe you. That's part of the allure of it for me, is that it sounds like they're just kind of making it up on the spot. And yet it's brilliant. And yet it sounds like it is being so meticulously crafted. And yet at the same time, it sounds like they could have just been making it up on the spot. I like Cornucopia. Cornucopia sounds a lot like Tomorrow's Dream. Sometimes in my head I kind of get the two confused in terms of their riffs and their verses, but I like them a lot. Hackasaurus says, for example, I love Metallica too, but sometimes I feel it's too fast and I never get that with Sabbath. It always hits the spot every time. I agree with you. I do like Metallica. I like Metallica a lot. But I agree. Sometimes it's all speed. And I think there are people who that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that kind of speed like that. But for me, that's not always what I'm looking for. Most times it just, when something becomes too fast, it just becomes noise to me. And I don't like that, really. It has its place, it has its merit, not to diss on anyone else's art or anyone else's likes, but Black Sabbath, like you said, is the perfect speed for me. It always hits the spot. It's heavy without being fast. I love this part that comes up. I don't know what's happening. All right. I don't know what's happening. So turn inside. Love it. That's the thing I love about Sabbath, is sort of that, like, really, like, going deep into the mind. It's all about the mind. You know, I'm trying to save your brain. It's all about, figuring out who you are and going deep into your mind and your psyche. Hackasaurus says, I agree. When I first started listening to Volume 4, I couldn't remember which song was which between Cornucopia and Tomorrow's Dream. And they're both great songs, and I love them, but they do have, like, there are some parts where I'm listening to Tomorrow's Dream, and in my head, I think it's gonna go into the, I don't know what's happening. It's gonna go into that part. But, of course, that's Cornucopia. They have very similar sounds. But I guess, it's just kind of consistent with the album. And I guess this is as much of a chorus as this song has, or as a lot of their songs have. Going to what you're saying, Hackasaurus, before, that not a lot of their songs have choruses. I think if they do have a chorus, it's more like a couple of lines. What's the next one on here? I love Laguna Sunrise. I don't listen to a lot of, other than when I listen to the records, I don't listen to the instrumentals that much. I think because I have my Spotify playlist of all Black Sabbath stuff. In it, I think the only instrumental I have is Breakout from Never Say Die. But I don't really listen to a lot of their instrumentals other than when I am listening to a record. And but I do really like a lot of their instrumentals. I love when it's just a lot of picking, you know. And this one is just really good. I love Laguna Sunrise. You know, they're not trying to stay within a box. Black Sabbath doesn't want to be kept in a box, you know. They don't want to be tethered down. They don't want to be typecast, I guess. They want to constantly do new things. Like, you know, you listen to this and you wouldn't think this is the same people who are doing, trying to think of one that's very completely different. Into the Void, you know. Or Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, you know. You wouldn't think this is the same band. I say the same thing with Solitude and Planet Caravan, I guess. Hackasaurus says, it sucks that Sabbath used to be considered satanic, and still kind of are by people who don't know. So many of their songs have deep and powerful messages behind them. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I always kind of wondered to myself, I always thought, like, I don't understand where people got the satanic thing from. Like, I don't know where they got that from. And then when I did my listen through of the first album, hearing NIB, hearing Black Sabbath, I can see where people took that, how people took that away from them, even though they don't really go back to that for a lot of their albums. But I mean, I think it was I think it doesn't mean as much now. I think in the 70s when this came out, there were a lot more religious people. And, you know, you had, like, the kids were listening to Black Sabbath and the parents were like, why are you listening to that devil music, you know? You don't really have that now as much, you know? Because now kids are listening to rappers who, I mean, people thought the Black Sabbath was satanic, but the stuff that rappers talk about is, like, to me, I think is a lot worse. I mean, I tried rap for a little bit when I was in, like, middle school. But since then, I mean, just the objectification of women and the violence against women in general and people in general and just, you know, a lot of stuff that's in rap just makes me kind of uncomfortable. As well as it's not really just my type of music. And Sabbath, while they kind of had that perception of being satanic, you know, while they had that perception, I mean, there wasn't anything bad. And, I mean, you kind of have, like, I mean, they talk about love and women a little bit. I mean, you have Dirty Women, and you have Sabracadabra and Evil Woman, Don't Play Your Games With Me, but you don't really have, like, pure misogynistic objectification of women like you do in a lot of rap songs, and you don't have violence against specific people, you know. It's very different. I'd say Black Sabbath's a lot more pure than a lot of other kinds of music. But yeah, I mean, some people just kind of got hooked on this idea of them being satanic, and they weren't able to look past that. I guess, you know, I think people are a lot less, society is a lot less religious today than it was in the 70s, and so that was more of a big issue then. And you had the satanic panic of the late 60s and 70s, and this came out right in that time. That's not as much of an issue today. So, Hackasaurus says, Laguna Sunrise is the perfect song title. The sound fits the imagery so well. I completely agree. Hackasaurus says, yeah, rap music is completely obscene. I enjoy some older stuff, but I've since moved on. Yeah, I agree. Before the song ends, you have one more comment, Hackasaurus, but I want to get to this, talk about this song. St. Vitus's Dance. I love this song. It is really only two riffs that it goes back and forth between, but really so is The Wizard, and so is kind of Wicked World. You know, those are really short one-note songs, but they're impactful and they hit because they're smaller in one note, and they are shorter. And St. Vitus's Dance, it does the same thing. Hackasaur says, when I tell people Sabbath is my favorite band, they ask if I'm a devil worshiper. That doesn't happen often, but it has before. I've gotten a lot of, oh, really? Interesting. I mean, to me, I'm not asking what your religious beliefs or anything like that are, Hackasaurus. For me personally, I mean, I don't believe in God or the devil. So to me, people are like, oh, are you a devil worshiper? I'm like, no, because I don't believe there's a devil. So, but to me, I mean, it doesn't matter as much. But I mean, there is that perception out there. Now we're into Under the Sun. I always found it interesting, and I'll talk a lot more about this once we get to Volume 4 in our breakdowns. But you kind of have a Master of Reality. You have a lot of like Christian motifs in that album, and then now you look at something like Under the Sun, and this is very atheistic. Interesting how they kind of go back and forth. Hackasaur says, the riff without the vocals on St. Vitus' dance makes me think of some cowboy square dancing. Quite funny to me. I never thought about that, but now I am thinking about that. So good on you, Hackasaurus. Hackasaurus says, the opening to Under the Sun is so heavy. I completely agree. But Black Sabbath is so much about freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of being who you are. And they have this constant idea of people try to tell you who to be, and fuck them if they try to tell you who to be. Be who you are. That is such a powerful message. That is especially powerful for the time that this came out. I mean, now we kind of have a lot more of freedom to express who you are nowadays. But, you know, but in the 70s, you didn't have that. And so that's such a powerful message to be able to tell people that if someone tries to interfere with your mind, you know, live your life and leave them all behind. Keep on running their rat race. This is such a powerful song to me. I love the back and forth. Yes, live your life and leave them all behind. I agree. That's like one of my favorite lines from this whole song. I love the drums in this. Bill Ward gets his like mini drum solos. I love it. Do 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 do. Love it. I just have to pay respect to this song by listening to it now. Those empty people. Here it comes. Just live your life and leave them all behind. And then we're talking about the ending of this song and how it's the perfect closer to an album. Here it comes. The slow build up of the drums. Tony just has to work in like little riffs. So good. Yeah, Hackasaurus is saying the video's lagging a bit here and there. The audio is still good though. That's good. I got an error message that YouTube's not receiving enough video. I don't know why. Nothing's changed. As long as the audio is good. We're going to be wrapping up in just a minute anyways, once this album's over. Seems fine now. That's good. Imagine hearing this at a show, live. I love this part at the end. They're in no hurry to end the song. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Is it over yet? Slowing it down. Do 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 do. Perfect ending to an album, to the album. I'm right there with you, Hackosaurus Rex. Excellent. All right, that is the end of the album. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's Streaming the Sabbath. We've been going for over an hour. So to Hackosaurus Rex, especially for commenting, thank you so much. And for everyone else watching now or watching later, thank you for joining us for this live stream. And I hope I definitely am going to do this again. And I hope to have some more people involved next time. And we can just build this because I gotta say, I had a lot of fun doing this. I had a lot of fun just talking Sabbath with you guys. So thank you so much for joining. Once again, I am Nathaniel Wolnar. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Once again, in the comment section, please let me know any changes you'd like to see me do going forward for these streams, things I can do to fix audio, to fix video, to fix anything else. Please let me know. I know I struggled a little bit in the very beginning as we were trying to get things situated, but I think it was smooth sailing from there on out. You can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, at Observe Sabbath for Twitter, at Observing the Sabbath for Instagram. And again, if you are ever interested in leaving a thought, leaving a comment with the Streamlabs, there is the link. Wait, let me angle it right. There we go. With the Streamlabs there. And the last couple comments, Hackosaurus Rex writes, "The end is so awesome," referring to Under the Sun. Can't hear it enough times. LOL. I completely agree. And then Hackosaurus says, "Really enjoyed the stream. Looking forward to the next one." I'm right there with you. Thank you for joining me, Hackosaurus, for this. I had a lot of fun doing it too. So, so we will do another live stream probably next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll do it all again. And keep your eyes out. This week we have more videos for Observing the Sabbath dropping. We are going to have an Electric Funeral, our reaction commentary, with a guest. That will be dropping on Monday. So, until our next reaction video, until our next streaming, thank you guys so much for joining me. Until our next observation.